Hi, I'm going to be reading an excerpt from a short story in progress. The souls of men are ringed in wickedness, lapping lengths of barbed wire, choking the spirit. That is what Mama believed. Articulation of the self and free will did not exist, just absolute devotion to destiny and the will of the gods. The best that could be hoped for was bargaining, begging, and assuaging, as if a mere love-tete and plastic baby dolls pledged to Papa Legba would dissuade time and the universe from their relentless march and negate man's accountability for his own ruin. So like a cane farmer vigilantly monitoring his fields with a scourge of beetles gnawing at the roots, Mama watched for the signs of the devil in me. As her eldest and only son, I seldom disappointed her. As long as I could remember, Mama recounted the dread she felt when I was in the womb. Even then, she could tell I was bedeviled. It did not help that Papa, whose lechery and sloth only grew as Mama's belly did, would come to symbolize the Loa, the spirit of all that was wicked in men. By the time my sisters Marguerite and Celine came along, it became clear to Mama that women were the protectors, the vessels of hope and redemption in this world of wicked, wicked men. Even Jésus-Christ, the Son of God, could not save her from this worldly suffering. But Mama was not one to abandon hope, which is why she played the gods one off the others, as if she herself could outwit them and have them do her bidding, as if she herself was one of them, instead of at their mercy. Her altar became crowded with beads and bones and bowls for water and for blood. When Papa left, we arrived here under the auspices of my mother's aunt and uncle, themselves not so long removed from the slums of Port-au-Prince. We'd always lived on the edge of the world, and no matter where or how far we moved, we continued to only inch along its perimeter. According to Mama, America was like Bondi, the supreme god, New York and Marasa Jumeau, the divine twins, and Flatbush like Papa Legba, the crossroads between our world and another. She gazed upon the new landscape and saw the bright awnings of stores that sold promises, the phalanxes of brown buildings squeezed so tight together as signs of prosperity, and the matte black faces of her fellow expatriates as comfort. This was a chance to start over. As the words had otherwise been translated to me, the terrain was not particularly flat nor filled with bushes. So when I first saw the stretches of chain-link fences, empty concrete lots, and oozing silver letters scrawled on buildings with open wounds instead of windows, I knew nothing could disguise the fact that this too would be hell. During my first days of middle school, a large Haitian boy named Emmanuel, fattened by the promise of America, and arrogant in the same way as well, made me his object of ridicule. Arriving only a few years earlier, he brandished his Americanism like a manchette, cutting newer arrivals down with their bony knees. "Elaine, that's a girl's name. Are you a girl, Elaine?" Emmanuel taunted me in the schoolyard one afternoon. A crowd grew around us, waiting for the taste of blood, but they underestimated me. I felt anger, and I felt power, but I cannot tell you where one ended and the other began. I ignored Emmanuel's bait and tried to walk away, but he stalked towards me, shoving me to the ground. I fell backwards, but rebounded quickly and leapt up into his torso and grabbed the back of his head and smashed it against my knee. I ran as fast as my legs would go against traffic and the honking of horns, alternated direction at every intersection to ensure my escape. When I stopped running, my usual 7-block route home had multiplied as I made my way back home through the maze I created. When I turned the corner onto Lenox Road, I was already an hour late. Mama was hanging out the 5th floor window, a sentinel on high alert. In a flash, she was at the front door and dragged me up the darkened stairwell like a rag doll. She locked us in the tiny bathroom and stood behind me, my head cradled in the crook of her left elbow, much like I imagined she cradled me when I was a baby. In the mirror, I could see the whites of her eyes like roiling stars in the black hole of her face. Mama's cries of sorrow and anger were distinctly different, but the conviction with which she bore them was the same. "O Diamnanu, the devil in you. I shall cut him out of you if I have to." I trembled as the tip of the blade pressed into my skin, the cold kiss of the metal tempered by her hot breath. It would not be the last time she'd run the knife across my neck. Thank you.